We are 11 episodes into this series of brief retrospective looks at albums from 1976 that are marking their 50th anniversaries in this year, 2026. In this 12th episode, we're going to revisit an album by an artist who was one of my absolute favorites at the time this album was released, but who I don't really listen to all that much anymore. This album, though, could change my habits. Hey there, Swan Shadow here. Welcome back to the nest. As I noted of Steve Miller back in the 8th episode of this series, Bob Seger is one of those artists whom I loved as a teenager. I played his records constantly, but whose music I rarely listen to now as a mature adult. Unlike with Steve Miller, whose catalog in large part hasn't aged very well for me, I still largely appreciate Bob Seger's material. It's just not top of my playlist anymore. Night Moves, however, stands out to me still as an outstanding album. It's among the best examples of the heartland rock genre that people like John Mellencamp, or as I like to call him, Diet Springsteen, have done their best to drive into the ground. It's not necessarily a genre that I turn to frequently in my music listening, but Seger was one of its pioneers, and I still think his catalog showcases that musical style at its finest. The title track of this album, Night Moves, stands as one of the all-time great tunes. Personal reflection narrative in song is tricky because on the one hand, the narrator has to speak openly and honestly in order to be convincing, but also has to be universal enough to be compelling to a broad audience. And I believe that Seger achieves that in this song. Now, maybe not everyone had these specific adolescent experiences being described here, but all of us can look back with a certain degree of nostalgia on a time when we were younger, more carefree, and maybe a little bit foolish and reckless in our choices. Certainly, as I've grown older, Night Moves captures that emotion for me. The opening track, Rock and Roll Never Forgets, pairs perfectly with another of Seger's best-known numbers, Old Time Rock and Roll, which was recorded 3 years later. It's interesting to think that when Seger sings about rock and roll in these songs, he's talking about the music not of the 1970s when this album was recorded, but of the late 1950s. For someone born in 1945, that would have been the music of his youth, just as Seger's own music, very different from those 50s records, is a part of the music of my youth. There's other good stuff here too. The Fire Down Below is a fine, gritty blues rocker that Seger absolutely sings the snot out of. Main Street, which was the album's second single and a decent hit that's had staying power both on radio and in TV and films, shows that Seger's facility with a subtle ballad is equal to his gift for the harder-edged material. There are some tasty deep tracks like Sunburst and the driving soul covers Come to Papa and Mary Lou that round out the album's musical highlights. Now, me personally, I could do without the country-flavored Ship of Fools, but that might just be my allergy to country music kicking in. Excuse me. Kind of a side note, I always thought it was a little weird that this album, in fact all of Seger's albums from this period, is credited to Bob Seger and the Silver Bullet Band, when in fact the Silver Bullet guys only play on half the tracks on the record. On all of the other tracks, Seger's support comes from the legendary Muscle Shoals rhythm section, which for whatever reason doesn't get the same headline credit. No, I mean, it's nice that Bob Seger gave his touring crew a byline, but what, they weren't good enough to play on the entire record? That just, I don't know, always struck me as peculiar. So tell me, Do you still get your night moves on to this classic album by Bob Seger? Let me know in the comments if you think this record has held up over the decades, and if you're still riding that Seger train. And since you're going to be leaving a comment anyway, why not tap that thumbs up to give this video a like? And subscribe to this channel so that you can hang with me throughout our journey through this time-honored music. Those likes and subscribes really help us grow this channel, and I sincerely appreciate every one. I will see you when I see you. Until we meet back here in the nest, please be well and please do well by the people close to you and the people you meet out in the world. And I always want to know, is there gas in the car? Yes, there's gas in the car.